Welcome back. We're here to do our live super chats, and yes, super chat sessions will be closing very soon. I'll wait for members and those of you in the public to come live, and then we will be on screen. We will have a bit of an energy update. Yes, we are reaching the full moon at 29 degrees, and if you guys haven't actually seen it, I may put a post out that can give a little bit more detail on top of the video that did cover both moons that were occurring in the House of Capricorn, especially because we did have one that was really beginning at 1 degree and then it transitioned over to the 29-degree point. I mentioned a lot of other surrounding aspects that were happening with the transits, and that was where Saturn was, where Neptune was, the context of how we could look at the whole thing as a total. And so I have actually broken that down inside a video if that is something that you're wanting to look at. I did say that a lot of subjects that were going to come up in the collective, especially because we can look at Capricorn as hierarchy, very Saturn in nature. We would see things to do with government, to do with hierarchy, to do with people from the past, old subject matters, especially within our families and tribes and our careers, and really where we were wanting to go and trying to find that very stable situation. And I did say when we did have the first full moon, that it was premature for us to make a decision. We were maybe having the niggles and the inklings of maybe some changes that we wanted to make, but potentially it didn't feel, through an emotional experience, we might have wanted to really, throw the baby out with the bathwater. However, what we were guided to do was really to sit with that energy and to pause a little bit longer to make that solid decision after the following full moon, which is coming up on the 21st. We are having that at 29 degrees. Definitely, I can feel that energy transition at this point in time, and emotionally, we all can be making some major decisions, or they directly can be happening to us. So the points and placements in your chart where Capricorn is, you can go onto astroseek.com and write astroseek birth chart, and you can plug in your details for your birth chart, and then you want to go directly below the symbol of the chart, and it can tell you planet position points, and that's going to show you the houses. It's going to give you a breakdown of them, so that you can get a better understanding of that degree point. I also, inside the video, covered the Sabian symbols and what that can signify. And I do feel there can be some major discussions that we are having within the context of those house systems where those changes are coming. Now, we do have the list up on the screen at the moment. So if you are wanting a session, you can go ahead and purchase a super chat either through YouTube or the link that we do provide, which is under all the info boxes, I do believe. But if you do need it, I can always grab it up on the computer and share it with you guys on screen. So how many do we have in the house? I'll open up PayPal, log in. Hi, how are you? How have you been transitioning? I think I also said travel wouldn't really be a good time at this point in time. I love the questions that they have when you go to the supermarket and you want frequent flyers, and it's like, yeah, Bali's on that one. We are Mercury in shadow at the moment, so yes, we have noticed big shifts and changes happening, especially with Jupiter and Gemini to do with technology, AI, glitches. What was I going to check? AstroSeek. So, yeah, that was very interesting. Globally, we had that happen. Hi, Marie. Tough day, just brutal. Oh, has tribe and family, especially with that Capricorn degree point. I guarantee twins feeling that quite a bit, Angela, especially with her transits in her chart. So we do have the list up on the screen, so we'll be going into it in a minute. We'll just check the actual astrology briefly. Oh, interesting. We've got the sun at 28 degrees. Let's make sure we're in the correct. Yeah. Yep, 28 degrees Cancer. So a lot to do with family and tribe, a lot to do with our emotions. You know, this moon lunation can be difficult because of that, because it's almost us versus other people. So we can directly have these feelings at the moment that we could be donating our services to people. We could be empathizing and understanding due to a difficulty they're going through. We also personally can be going through those things. We can also be looking at our wellness because we do have Chiron in the mix. What date does that go retrograde if it hasn't already? Retrograde as of the 26th, so it's already in its shadow. So again, our wellness is going to be quite important. But, you know, Chiron can be the higher heart chakra. So, you know, good time to detox, good time to keep your hydration up, to really be caring for our nervous systems. And again, this isn't medical advice. This is more the context of the astrology aspects, how they potentially could play out, and really knowing your body as well. Aries being the first house, we tend to have positions happening that do tend to sit in that zodiac sign a lot longer, because we do tend to find that that placement does have a lot more work to be done. We also spiritually will find at the moment, because Saturn's going to sit there quite a bit in the house of Aries, so that's going to be interesting next year, and it is going to loop back out and move back into Pisces again. So it's really a place during Chiron retrograde where we're going to be assessing maybe some of the spiritual blockages that we have in those particular areas of our chart. It could be with our relationships, it could be with us within our own personal identities, with courage and conviction. And again, the North Node is there. So really with the North Node in Aries and Chiron retrograding, we will be reflecting, and it is more an internal energy. We also could have some revelations through this as well, but it's very important during its retrograde to actually care for your wellness. We're good though, just testy getting through it. Yeah, it is. The frequency has been quite heavy. I do believe there's a possibility of solar flares coming in again, which can make us quite fatigued. And again, with both Saturn and Neptune retrograde, we can have a lot to do with psychology coming up. There can be some pressure points that we're assessing. We can be very fatigued. We also at times, and there is this risk with Neptune and Saturn retrograde, that we can become a bit lazy, and it might be for absolutely rational reasons. We simply don't have the energy to get things done, and we might have too much, and so the psychological overwhelm is very possible that we feel. So it can be key to be aware of that. Maybe make a list through the most important to the least, and we can also be productive through these times. It's going to be, if I could give an inch of advice, it would be, if we think this is hard, from a fatiguing point of view, it definitely will be more fatiguing as Mars later on in the year does move retrograde. So best advice I could give is post-moon in Capricorn, whatever revelations you have of changes you want to make, it's time to address it. It's time to paint ferryman and make those changes. But we can be internalizing these things. They can be on the inside rather than the outside. But it's about listening to our bodies, listening to our feelings, and then making those adjustments as we spiritually feel are correct for us. Being gentle with ourselves, having, and I've said this to a lot of people, we have sometimes the worst support systems, and that's not necessarily our fault at times. There are a lot of great networks out there. It can be actually, while we're in a good state, to really, update our contacts and have a look at those numbers, those people maybe that we can turn to when we're having a difficult time. And like attracts like, and my daughter brought this up the other day, and she says, look, Mum, I was having a dreadful time, and everyone was contacting me, and I was really having a dreadful time, and I just don't understand it. And I said, well, ironically that you say that, that would very often happen to me prior to my awakening, and I did really personalize it. And the thing is, it's a beacon. So, if you're having a real shitty time, like attracts like, so it might be not answering your phone at that point in time. It may be knowing, if you know the personality traits of the individuals that are calling you, is to just go Barley's on it and wait till you're in a better mindset, but also to not have that number as your backup number to contact them, but actually to know, okay, if that person's maybe going to sabotage you or speak poorly of you. Who could you really call at this point in time that's going to be more supportive during those testing emotional kind of frequencies? So I would always have the most healthy phone number to call, because I knew that person was maybe going to be supportive, maybe give me some logical advice, or maybe just listen. But if you don't have that, and that number that you were going to contact is going to criticize, put you down, tell you all the worst things you know they're going to tell you, probably step away from that telephone. It's all on the website, Dale. Probably better on here. It's 20 AUD. So yeah, as a donation per Q&A. So yes, stepping back from actually those individuals that are, going to give you some grief during that. Give it 5. Okay, we're going to get into the super chats. Antonella is the first individual, and I did get your question. Thank you for sending it to me. Especially those of you that are in the members, thank you for supporting the channel. I was just having a chat to a fellow subscriber / individual that I coached over the years, and she mentioned to me the other day, Yildiz, where's this energy coming from? And I was like, it's the Capricorn moon. 29 degrees, it's big changes. It's our foundation. It's our base chakra. Yeah, base chakra, as above, as below, the floor is lava. Change is happening. I think it's PayPal. Yeah, PayPal, or you directly can do it through YouTube. Okay, let's see. So let's see the question that Antonella asked, and we will cover what is coming up for that. Interesting, the first card that came through for you, because we did discuss a little bit of this read in the members. Okay, because masculine frequency within the card has come up, and I did mention this about your direct question. We're keeping it in code at this point in time. This individual in question, especially in relationship to the individual you're questioning at this point in time with this reading, I did mention that the other individual has their own mind. The masculine energy has their own mind, and this individual you're worried about or concerned about, they're a very separate situation. So it's about really keeping it and understanding the context of that this person has no power over your future, over that movement there. But we do have a masculine energy here, and I'll pull a clarifier just in case there's anything that we're missing, because they're wanting me to. You may need to make peace. You may need to make peace with this. I do feel the individual that is related to that person is aware of the message. Yes, they are aware of the message. Hi, sweet. How are you? Long time no chat. It's been a while. Yeah, so yes, if you were wondering, does this person know that you messaged them? Yes, they do. But again, it is a very... There could have been some conflicts. Okay, obviously before there could have been conflicts. The person in their own life is having their own dramas right now. This could be the context of the reason why they haven't actually communicated. You're really... You may need to clarify in the message to do with what the context of the conversation is going to be about. They're asking to provide more context. But again, I would probably sit on that and leave it for about a week or two. I wouldn't go into it at this point in time. I'd step back and leave it be to give that person some space, because I feel they've got their own dramas going on. Because it could add fuel to the fire. That's what they're saying. Yeah, you got to wait for, you have to make an educated guess when this is going to be correct. But at this point in time, I would step back. I would allow that person some spiritual space, because I think it's just going to add fuel to the fire. That's my advice. We'll leave it at that. especially because we did touch base on this inside the members. Okay. Otherwise, you can pay directly through YouTube, just for a super chat. It doesn't have to be through the PayPal link. Okay, we will update that. I hope that helps. Antonella, I hope you get the context of it, my love. So, we have Marie. Yeah, I try to keep it as simple as possible. Otherwise, especially for bookkeeping purposes, there's just different apps everywhere. Hi, beautiful. After 2 years and a half with no contact, I met my twin 3 weeks ago. Since I have not received contact, the meeting was quite emotional. Can you tell me what is going on? Look, Marie, it's actually really common. Where you do meet that individual, it can very naturally, and that's with anyone really, it can go quiet. Doesn't mean to say it's negative. It depends on the context of, what was spoken about. Was there a lot to unpack and digest? When there is a lot to unpack and digest, you're going to easily need to give that person some time. Because especially if there's some blockages in the journey, they might be in a relationship of some description, there could be some dramas. Whatever those things are, they will directly be working on those situations, especially if that directly is a blockage within your actual relationship sector. Sometimes it is for healing and clearing initially, for the initial communication. But it does depend on the context of what's going on. We'll see what comes through in the cards. But it doesn't have to be a negative thing that no communication has come through. But it is a time rather to internally do that work and unpack what those things are. Yeah, there was a lot that needed to be discussed in relationship to the past. We have in the past position the 8 of Swords. It could be misunderstandings, misinterpretations, misjudging situations, things that were just very foggy, things that you really needed to get off your chest because they were it was almost clouding your mind to be able to help you to move in a particular direction. Unfinished business. It's like, okay, the one that got away, unfinished business. How can I make some closure on this? It probably didn't give you the complete closure you were hoping for. It was more, does that make sense? Because it can feel as though the purpose of the connection was to proceed forward, but the purpose ended up being about really unpacking the past. Because we do have the 8 of Swords, which, is probably in the here and now causing a little bit of conflict because you're feeling, okay, are these old patterns coming back? Am I getting caught in my mind again? How do I break that cycle? How do I actually proceed forward? Because your crowning energy is actually quite positive. And it is to do with moving away from troubled waters. It is to do with, feeling trouble, but, a change in direction. Now, I do think balance is coming in, but there is something to do with this could be a tribal situation. I don't know if they've had something. This could be your side of the fence or their side of the fence. There was something to do with family going on. It could have been inheritances or drama surrounding. This could be a family. This could be a marriage situation. But it's something that was quite woven in, so to speak. Could it have been the way that you were going to merge 2 tribes together? It could have been. But I feel this is more the here and now. This also can feel as though because there has been a lot invested in this situation, emotional, physical, spiritual, desiring the happy ending, desiring the positive outcome. You do actually have the 10 of Cups as your outcome card. So it does feel as though there is going to be some movement of some description. But for some reason, I do feel, look, the person's showing up as an emperor, which is a very positive. situation. That is if you are single, okay? I'm picking it is this individual in question here, which is quite positive. I do feel they're coming through quite traditional, quite old-fashioned. But they're making reference to, it's almost like there's a mountain that needs to be moved. Do you understand the context of what I'm discussing here? There's some sort of binding arrangement here that is needing to be wrapped up. You could be questioning, is it going to be removed? Is the blockage in this path going to be removed? I do feel so. And you are going to get your Ten of Cups as an outcome. So that's what they're saying at this point in time. The person hasn't changed their mind. They're actually quite relieved that you did have a meeting. They're relieved that there was some air that was cleared up. It's so, like, in their heart, it feels so positive, but it also feels negative because it means that their world's going to change. Does that make sense? Yeah, so it feels in two areas, love. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but I don't think it's that it's not going to happen. I feel it was good that the meeting occurred, the discussions happened. Now they're kind of looking at it as, okay, now I have to deal with this mountain. They're actually going into a dream state of how life could be on the other side, but they do feel they're coming through very traditionally. They're going to do it correctly. They want to do this correctly in the proper way. Yeah, and that's what I'll leave it at. But you do have the Ten of Cups as an outcome card, which is quite positive. So the feelings, the possibility, the movement is there. The intent is there. I wouldn't push the point at this point in time. I wouldn't reach out. I would allow that person to contact you, especially if they've got your number. Distance makes the heart grow fonder, trust me. The person is showing up as an Emperor, which is positive. So I would allow that person to be the Emperor and move towards you. Let's see who we have next. It was a bit of a mouthful. They do feel a bit anxious, but I mean, overall, they get the context and they're kind of grateful for it. That's what I can say. They're grateful for the conversation. They're happy that some things were cleared up. It's probably they've got more problems, but regardless, it's what needed to be addressed. Addressing the bloody elephant in the room, if you get what I mean. I'm going to have a drink. I tell you, these transits are making me so thirsty. And sinus, Lord. Cool. Let's see. We have, and I hope I got everyone on the list. I'm pretty sure I did. Tracy, we have you next. I did PM the members for those that are in the members. Yeah, as far as I know, everyone's here. Something keeps popping up, Tracy. It's like, God, it's like a game. I don't know what they're showing me as a metaphor, but for those of you that don't know, I'm a psychic medium, but I cover astrology as well, coaching and twin flame path. I'm seeing this metaphor like a bang on. It's a bit like a toy. It's a bit like Jack in the Box, and you bang one, and another's coming up. So, what is this of the context that you're dealing with at this point in time? Because it's like you just go and sort something out, and you like clean the slate, and something else is popping off over the other side, and it feels like it's been a little bit relentless for you. You're like, I just dealt with that. It's a bit like a main bursting, and you seal one hole and then something else over there's going on, and you're trying to hold this, and it feels like that. It feels like you're going, what do I do here? Why is this happening right now? Again, Yeah, it's a little bit like when you look up to universe and you go, are you messing with me? Are you effing with me? You're joking, right? Ugh. Do you have a particular question? It is. I put a fire out daily. Sounds like my life. I've been sick. I went into work, Monday, and I was feeling great. I was like feeling good vibes. I was having triggers coming up just out of nowhere. It was almost like shadow energy, and then got sick. And then when I finally was able to actually leave the house, which was for trivial duties, I come across a 3-car pile up. I'm like, maybe I should just hide under a rock. I'm like, really? Yeah, lots of people from the past coming back, nothing Pacific. Well, the first card you have is the Devil card in reverse, which is lovely, really. And you're like, oh, why am I surprised? I shouldn't be surprised. This could be anything down to, and again, it's the Capricorn energy. It could be it's Pluto is going to move back into Capricorn. I still say we're picking up on it regardless. It's at such a slight degree. We're getting both Pluto and Aquarius and Pluto and Capricorn simultaneously, personally speaking. It is also with the moon at the 29-degree point. It's avoiding temptation. It's trying to control your triggers. It's feelings of wanting to do things differently, also wanting to do things in a mature way. This is going to be pretty hard for us when you do look at the moon. What's the moon? It's an emotion, isn't it? It's an emotion. So it's a catch-22. It's emotions over maturity. Maturity over emotions. Which one do we honor? Both exist. Both need to be addressed. But what the emotion does show is what the diddly-o the issue is. So it's not about avoiding the issue and ignoring it. It's about saying to yourself, gee, okay, I have to honor this. It's something that's coming up. It keeps coming up. Let me actually look at it and be honest with this. Not being an emu or an ostrich, putting your head in the sand, but definitely it is saying find a healthy medium. I feel as though it's saying you're being too mature. Too mature. You could actually be master of your emotions. It could be that you're saying, look, I have to be mature and suck it up and just deal with it and not be a princess. But the thing that I'm feeling is it could be something that is quite necessary to address, and that not necessarily is this situation going to go away. And so it's still going to irritate you. Do you get the gist? So I think it's not that you're being too mature, but needing to honor your emotions. That's how it's coming through. So it's like, no, don't discard the emotions, because if something's pissing you off, you are within your right to say, hey, we need to go back to the negotiating table with this. And maybe this is something I do need to really review and see if it's what I'm wanting to do. It could be a job. It could be a job. It could be whatever it is, though. I stopped speaking on stuff because I know my age. Yeah. But you don't want to be the rat in the cage. You can't be the rat in the cage. And I also totally relate, because it does at times feel it's hard to soar like an eagle when you're surrounded by turkeys. And I can say that because I'm part Turkish. But not everyone does see the same thing, if you know what I mean. So sometimes we do need to repeat ourselves, and it's more finding that language that individual maybe understands, so that we can transmute that. Or maybe looking at it that it is an environmental thing, and it's like, I've just got to leave that alone. But something's changing here. Yeah, nobody can really pull the wool over your eyes anymore. So yes, it's very difficult when you do get to that space, when you're seeing life from a different perspective. They can't really pull the wool over your eyes. Probably not even a player. You can't, there's a term that they use. I think it's a metaphor. You can't play the player. You can't play the player. And it's like, if you've been played so many times, you can't play the educated, because you just see things differently. But your emotions are actually coming up for a reason. Okay? They are coming up for a reason. Okay, in the context of a romantic connection, there is still a there's a spiritual ping pong going on here. In one way, you are spiritually, you're unattracted by it, it's a contradiction. My twin actually says this. I think it was a term that was used, walking contradiction. In one way, there is maybe a desire to have a connection. In the other, you are unattracted by players, and the other, you would prefer to be fancy free. So it's kind of like you're trying to work out maybe what to do. But you're thinking, hey, and look, usually we need to walk a mile in another person's shoes so that we can see the reasons why they got to that. So an example would be if an individual we had a connection to maybe did not want to commit. Maybe it's because they were messed about so much. Maybe because they saw the absolute deeper responsibility that was required inside of a relationship, and therefore it became a burden, and they walked away and tried to get something that was less needy, less codependent, less responsible. This could be something spiritually you're going through at this point in time, and you're desiring a relationship, but also knowing the unattractiveness of codependent relationships. And so you actually could be seeing another person's perspective at this point in time, inadvertently through a dynamic that you're currently living right now. There is a lesson that's being learned, but there's also something about your own newness that is coming through that you're actually trying to navigate and trying to understand. So in one context, I feel you would really love a very solid relationship, but in the other, you kind of feel quite conflicted that you would prefer to be fancy free. And you know, I mean, the analogy could be a fling, you know, wanting a fling, but then that's something you're also not wanting, because you want a spiritual connection. So you're trying to find a healthy medium. And I guess what I'm feeling is right now, it could be that you just go into things very gradually instead of maybe placing a tag or placing a expectation or an expiry date on something, to just try something, to go into it. And if you're in particularly thinking about a particular person, it could be, okay, when I get to that step, I will take the first step and I will see how that feels, smells, taste, touch, etc. I'll gauge it with my six senses, and then I'll take the next step. And then instead of actually anticipating what's going to happen in 20 years, what's the worst case scenario, you're actually gauging it as you go. And it's more within your control. It's more, I can pull the pin if I choose to. I can assess the situation. Nothing ventured, nothing lost. Do you get what I'm saying? And I think if you go slow, you'll be more open to the experience than just feeling really underwhelmed by, you know, can we have the candy shop as well as the structure? 100%. Okay. But I think at this point in time, try to not compartmentalize yourself into just one category of I can either have it or I can't. And that's with any of your emotions right now. Acknowledge the rage, acknowledge the maturity, and find a combination of the both, honor both. That's what I'm feeling. I hope you get what I'm saying. That was a mouthful. That was a lot to unpack, but I hope that helps you navigate your destiny and your dreams, because it does take two to tango, but you are learning something. This could be about a spiritual connection, okay? And, you know, what they've been going through, and maybe the new version of you, Tracy. Okay, great. Glad I could help. It's hard navigating life, isn't it? Bloody love, bloody emotions. I'll have another sip of my drink, and I won't bore you with my drinking cup face. Yeah, but it's good to know who we are. It's good to know where we are. It's a little bit like snakes and ladders. Where are we on that playground? Where are we? Where are we in the context of that? And that's okay too. You know, maybe you do need to investigate being fancy free and walking a mile in another person's shoes for a bit, and that's okay too. No expectations. I've lived that too once upon a time. It was nothing promised here. Nothing promised. That was way back when. Yeah. So we have our next super chat. Thank you, Lois. Lois has been very busy. Very busy. We'll buy a different t-shirt then. Been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, didn't like it. Try something new. Cosmic Journey. Let's see what's coming up for you, love. Oof. Now, don't know why they're wanting me to look at the astrology for you. Probably you do have a lot going on, I would say, Cosmic Journey. Especially moving into 2025, you, True Heart, you're going to have some big changes happening because of the axis between Pisces and Virgo. You could be, look, there could be a lot on your plate. There could be a lot that you're trying to climb out of and address. You also could be looking at the context of your romantic situation and feeling in order for this person to get out of Dodge, they're having difficulty with it. But if they really wanted to, they would. Like they're climbing out of a conflicting situation. You also could be going through a pile of paperwork, dealing with things, emotions from the past coming up, but you are climbing out of it. That's what I'm getting. So whatever this heavy energy is, it does feel you are getting out of it. Oh, it's funny. You do have the Tower in the heart of things. Now, this could be a few things. Having the Hermit card in reverse in the past. You know, really not wanting to be alone. Maybe having to do some shadow work, doing that deeper reflection, looking at life and saying, look, you know, I've come this far in the journey. I've invested in this circumstance, this person, place, or thing to this date. Do I need to change something drastically? Or am I okay with the way things are? But this is coming up in the heart of it. Could there have been a shock of some description? There could have been. Could something be happening to cause this? A possibility. Separately, you could be being strict with yourself and saying, okay, what is my heart's desires in life with people, places, and things? Do I need to pull the tower down and rebuild a situation in a more structurally sound manner? Again, Capricorn at the 29-degree point. Or, you know, again, I just feel something's changing in the heart of this situation. So whatever your question is or circumstance that is happening, I do think it's going to go in your favor because you are directly after having the Magician. Oh, this is interesting. I feel that your plan of attack, or how this could even be a fight. This could even be a fight because it feels like a decision is coming to a pivotal point that you're having to make. You then have the Magician card, and then you have this this freeness that you have. But the signature that I'm seeing psychically is that you're being drawn to make a very difficult decision of some description. It also could be a conflicting discussion. I feel after that, it's actually helping another person make an adjustment of some description. I just keep hearing this term, an adjustment is going to be required to proceed forward. And it's like you could be feeling, or in general you're feeling, you're having to repeat this, and it feels so frustrating that it's coming up quite almost sternly. It's coming through very sternly. Hmm. I'm hearing the term biting the bullet and addressing the elephant in the room. I do think on this other person's side of the fence, they do have some dramas coming up. They know that you're frustrated as well. This is something that's being addressed. I also feel a child, and this doesn't have to be a younger person. This could be a person. Don't outrule a statement that a child is saying. This can be yours or another person's, because I feel some advice is going to be given to you. It might be a viewpoint that they have. You also might be feeling this person is quite innocent with their perspective of life. The statement itself could be innocent, but the education of this person, it's almost like they do have some wisdom that they're actually giving to you. Especially to do with the crossroad in life. It's right out of the mouths of Baines, I'm hearing. And I just think this person feels like this person feels like a male energy, maybe a female, but I'm feeling strong energy of a male. I feel they're going to say something. There could be some gossip coming out as well, but I do feel a T section in the road, crossroad. You could have been going, oh, I'm also hearing the term an anniversary date of something that's coming up for you. Which is quite difficult. It's adding to it. But I feel whatever you're going to articulate, I do feel everything's coming to the surface. It is for good reason. It is going to shift things around. Don't feel you need to suppress it down and not discuss it, because they're actually saying it's going to go to your benefit. That's what I'm getting. But I do feel this individual who's maybe related, or it could be a child that says something to you, doesn't even have to be your child. Whoever this person is, they got some wisdom for you. It could feel quite psychic in nature. Had a very interesting experience many, many moons ago. And it was an individual, a child that knew my twin, and they gave me a message. And this child never met me before. And they just decided to plonk their chair in front of me and give me a mini reading. And I was like, what the? Who are you? I knew they were psychic, though. Psychics recognize psychics. They just do. Anywho, I hope that helps, Cosmic Journey. I hope it helps you. Also with your business, try not to get too frustrated. It will pan out. Even though you could want to throw the towel in. It will pan out. You will find how to navigate it. Research clue. Oh, this is interesting. It feels like maybe over the last few weeks you've been going quite good. All of a sudden it feels like there's a shift in events, and it feels like some a different energy is coming in for you. You have been swimming this marathon. You have been. It's been flowy. But it does feel all of a sudden it's not so peachy. There's some shift in the dynamic of things coming to a head. Yeah, some disruptions really cropping up out of nowhere. If this hasn't happened, you're pre-warned. It's on its way. I don't think it's anything you can't handle, but I do think it's a shift in the vibration. It's a shift in circumstances that are happening. It's something quite unexpected. There's an individual around you at the moment that is watching you. It's funny, the first thing I was going to say is I don't feel that this person is a romantic interest, although I do feel there could be something to that degree in there. But it could be somebody that you haven't actually previously had a romantic connection with. This could be somebody in your circle. It could be in a working environment. But I just get this person watching you. They're watching you for some reason. Interesting. Yeah, some out of sync energies coming up. Something's not quite fitting. I'm getting it's either energy, which I still do feel it's going to be energy. Separately, I do feel it could be a physical event. Especially where it comes to making an assessment or a judgment, it feels like something isn't adding up. They're referencing something to do with wealth, something to do with money. This also can be bookkeeping. Cross your T's, dot your I's. Something of the past is coming back up. They're also feeling that you do need to nurture yourself. You do need to care for yourself. If you had gone backwards and felt you'd gone backwards, maybe a bit run down, you are going to be moving forward quite quickly. I also feel an individual of the past. Oh, gosh, I'm feeling 3 individuals here. There's the most recent energy. There's a person who's a suitor that's quite interested. I also feel a blast from the past, and I feel a most recent ex. Now, the most recent, it could be 3 years. It doesn't have to be. Could be longer, but it feels... this is somebody maybe that was in your life quite a bit. You don't quite know, there feels unfinished business here. It hasn't completely wrapped up. There could be a bit of a drama coming up with this person. Although the clarifier is that they're not an enemy, so maybe it's going to harm themselves more than it harms you. I feel at times this person is regretful that you're not in their life. I'm also being guided to show you keep things quite traditional at this point in time. Have faith that you're quite protected, but I feel a lot of people are watching you at the moment. You could be very, very focused on one particular area of your life. It's a little bit like a food pyramid. So, we've got love, we've got family, we've got career. For some reason, I feel it's a lot to do with career or purpose of some description. I do feel there could be a reshuffle around that. There's some people that are maybe suddenly leaving the physical environment. You also could be psychically picking up on a romantic connection with a big change that's happening in their life. And I do feel some gossip coming through the grapevine. Now, this can happen in a myriad of ways. It could be that you stumble across something on the internet. It could be something that somebody is directly telling you. I feel this is by month's end, moving into maybe the 2nd week of August. But they're saying some information is going to be flowing to you of the past. I definitely do feel a significant change with what is going on in your life at this point in time. Any unfinished business, try to address it as soon as humanly possible, because it is going to, I'm getting a slingshot effect, and it feels it's going to take you in completely new directions. Honor the towers that could be coming. They're for you. They're going to liberate you out of a very toxic situation. And I feel, a lot of times when we experience a tower moment, we don't trust it. I get that they're mentioning soft landings. They're mentioning some big changes, and they're in 3 direct areas of your life. It's not going to make sense when it's happening, but they're saying on the aftermath of it, you're going to be so grateful. You're going to be so grateful that it's going to feel like a totally different life you're living. But I do feel some significant changes, either you ushering it in, or it's directly happening to you. But you definitely have individuals like quite sweet on you, making peace with the past, it's funny because even this individual that's around you at the moment, this actually could go somewhere, but something in you has changed. Yeah, something in you's changed. But I definitely do see some shifts. I'll leave it at that. Those of you that do turn up, I can channel it and definitely bounce back off you. But if you're not, we can't. Dawn, we will see what's coming up for your rate. Oh, God. You got the devil card. What's going on, Dawn? Definitely look at your birth chart, Dawn. Look at where it is, where Capricorn is for you. Collectively, I think for your zodiac sign. Where'd I put it? There. Yeah, it's in the 8th house, which is a bit of a tricky one. It's a bit of a tricky one. For your personal, you may need to directly look at your chart as an additional. But yeah, between the 2nd and the 8th house, a lot to do with money coming up. A lot to do with, this can be taxes, debt, legacies, inheritances, your income, your self-esteem, your confidence, eating, diet, nutrition, other people, what they bring to the table, who you directly can depend on, passing of friendship groups. It's a full-on house. How to network more money. This could be through various streams of income. It could be shares and resources. You do have the tools. You could be embodying quite a bit of masculine energy at the moment. It could be because you're required. This also could be a connection that is quite interested in you at this point in time. I'm also seeing that dream states can be quite large for you. So pay significant attention to your dream states, especially where it comes to romantic liaisons, because they're showing me a signature coming through in a dream. We have the Ace of Wands. You do have the tools to actually protect yourself to move forward, but there also could be an individual that is quite attracted to you at this point in time. It's funny because, oh God, I hate to say this, Dawn. You could be looking for a masculine. If you have too much masculine energy inside you, sometimes you can attract a person that's a masculine, but they could be the more feminine archetypal energy. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. There is some unfinished business. This is with a person who you had a heart-centered energy with. They also could be going through some deep changes spiritually. There could be an energy of an individual that is a male. I feel this person is on the other side. I feel that they're trying to give you some messages. It feels like this could be a relative. It could be a friend that transcended over. That's a male energy. It feels like they're trying to give you some psychic messages. You're trying to be, look, you've been very fair with the circumstance of the past, especially to do with this person. You're just really giving it to them. You're giving it to God. You're like, I need a person to come into my life that's a fighter. Lover and a fighter. Somebody that is exchanging and you know, it's like giving and receiving. Somebody that's open to that. I don't know. This also feels you could be talking to some experts about some things. This also with the 2nd house could be a home renovations, changes of home, changes of location of home. Are the emotions being made based upon what you feel is spiritually correct for you? Or is it to do with an emotional situation of the past? I do feel also there is going to be a great deal of wealth coming towards you, but I just really get this feeling of a big change. They're saying just make sure you're making this decision for the right reasons. I do think, especially with Mercury going retrograde, be careful with that fine print if you are looking at contracts, because you do have the axis of both the Cancer, Capricorn, Moon. And I'm looking at your cards as well, and I do see some wealth coming through. And we do see this sense of moon and money and a previous relationship and where you are and wanting to have some sense of direction. Emotions can be coming up with the 5 of coins. And as we have Mercury retrograde, it is kind of moving between 2 signs. And it's very much to do with contracts for you and the physical home environment. I think things are going to become more clear as we do move into the following month. But at the moment, you know, I would assess things. I would look at the devil in the detail. From a non-emotional point of view, I feel, especially Virgo is good for that because it looks at things more logically. Not that they don't have emotions, but it's like, okay, give me the devil in the detail. Let's look at the analytics. Let's look at the physical substance. I think until that moves, this is how you're going to feel, is up in your head and confused. I especially feel this is how you're feeling towards an emotional connection. There could be a choice that you're making, and it could be that somebody is being left out in the cold. But I do think things are going to make more sense for you as we do transition into August. At this point in time, I feel it's a lot of things everywhere. I feel there's a lot of dynamics that you won't have a complete storyline on, but I do feel significant change. My dog's climbing in the garden again. She wants to play in the back garden, but I have to babysit her. So instead, I'll let her get in trouble in the courtyard. She's getting in trouble in the courtyard. I had to retrieve her out of there the other day. I had to tell her to wait. But yes, big shifts, Dawn. Feel free to ask questions after. And only way I can respond is really by typing, unless the individuals are here. Kerry. Okay. Okay, you do have either something to do with marriage, contract, partnership. First card you have is the 2 of Cups. You also have, okay, try to not be too critical on yourself relating to the past, especially surrounding wealth, because you have in the past position the 4 of Coins. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. This could be saving plans. This could be the things that you wanted to have in order. It could be pay. I do get some options coming through for you at this point in time, and I think these options could be quite positive. I do think you need to really, I would say, assess them and actually get the fine detail. Be quite cautious with navigating this at the moment. But also being critical on yourself is not going to be productive. There is a possibility of great emotions that are coming through, especially for your zodiac sign. You know the goal in mind. You have a clear goal, okay? You do have a clear goal. There's some opportunities here. There is a big shake-up. There is a big change. You are fed up of the circumstance. You do feel that you absolutely feel it's necessary to make a change. So it's almost like your hand's being forced. You have been extremely patient. You could go back into negotiating. There's a lot of memories coming up of the past here, especially maybe even as a possibility to do with an ex. This also could be a possibility of bumping into them or hearing through the grapevine what they're doing. It also can be quite distorted in what you're hearing, and unless it's coming from the horse's mouth, I'd be very careful to believe all of such. But your faith in yourself and knowing, I think you're going to feel more comfortable once you do make a decision. I do see possibilities of interviews. You are coming through as the King of Wands, which this can be a possibility of career transition. Although I also feel something spiritual on the home front really going through a transition at this point in time. And it might come quite unexpectedly. Now, it can be your home. It can be a current home that you are physically living in. I just feel it's almost like you're waking up one day and you're saying, right, that's it. I'm changing this. This is happening. And I feel as soon as that occurs, everything starts shifting. It's almost like getting fed up of it to a point you're like, right, everything has to change. It's, at the moment, I don't feel it's quite there. Although I do feel some opportunities are coming. It is going to mean quite a large restructure for your life. However, I also do feel that this is still going to be positive. If these shifts are totally ignored, I get this vibe that whether you don't want to upset the apple cart or make a change, I just feel that you've probably got around 2 months, and it's going to happen anyway, whatever this changes. Why is that? Because we're moving into eclipse season. So where you can get your footing, your foundation, you can get your mind at peace with something, getting our ducks in a row, whatever this is, and it feels like it's in several areas, love. I feel cross your T's and dot your I's, make your decisions, have your conversations, network, because it's gonna get you into a place where you're going to be more comfortable with the transition over waiting till, say, late August, September, October, and then at the end of the year we're making do. I do think this is changing beforehand. I also feel a working environment, you could have a little break from it. There could be a mini holiday coming up, or it could be that you step back to really think about, okay, what do I do here? But definitely some surprises in the mix. Okay, we will leave that. And we have Twin Flame Love Potions. And a very quiet chat. Don't you agree, Lois? Very quiet. And I can't remember if she asked me what she wanted me to cover. Star card. Playing for keeps. Now, could it mean that you had a tower moment, or you're about to have a tower to get the star? It could even be the thought that you feel you need to, something huge would need to happen in order for this to come through your way. The other analogy I'm getting is it's always darkest before the dawn. What's your great-grandson's name? Hi! Are you behaving? What does he call you, Lois? Is he cute? Is he a cutie pie? My daughter was joking with me the other day. She goes, you adopted me. I said, oh, girl, I would not adopt you. Nana. She was like, why? I said, only a mother could love that. She knows I was kidding, but heck, she killed me. These cutos. Yeah, and then the grandbabies come along and you're like, oh, you're cute. And you like me. Mm. You're planning for keeps. You're planting seeds. You're guided to be careful. You're guided to be careful about how you plant those seeds. One can be planted with pure intention and you can harvest a crop, or one can be diseased. You know what it means to be careful how you're planting. Be careful how, I don't know why this is coming through. It's like plotting. You won't need to do much, okay? Because everything that is yours is always going to come towards you. But I do feel you're looking at, okay, where am I going from here? What seeds of intentions am I planting? There is an element of slight frustration, I can say, where you do want some shifts and changes. It's almost like you're saying to yourself, when do the tides change? You know, when are the tides going to change? When are they going to move my way for my kind of dynamic of things? Now, this can be to do with a connection, to do with romance, to do with a partnership or a contract. You maybe had to, over your years, be very self-reliant, self-sufficient, in a lot of masculine energy for a lot of your time. To do with a romantic connection, you are wanting a decision. In a way, it's a catch-22, because it's like, in one breath, that my guides are showing me this card is a bit of a conundrum, okay? It's like, do I plant or don't I? Did I or didn't I? Is it or isn't it? When is the crop going to produce a yield? That's what I'm getting. And the cards that follow, I feel, yes, what you're playing for is for keeps, is a relationship. You do want this person to lead, although you don't believe they can. You do get stuck mentally to do with this. Your emotions of your feelings and what you want out of your life, you do want to fill your cup. You do want something for yourself. At times you feel left out in the cold and misunderstood, that you're like, okay, when do I get to fill my cup? The pendulum can swing sometimes so far, especially when a person is receiving crumbs all their life and they start starving. The pendulum swings to the point that if we have been without for so long, we know we can do without, but we also know if we do have something, we won't take crumbs. And so we can have that benchmark of a requirement where it used to be here in a very equal sense. We can, in an egoic way, kind of place it all the way up here to go, I'd rather go without. The Queen of Swords. Having to be independent. Yeah, you are going through a big shift, girl. I feel spiritually the warning is there could be a purge you're moving into. Okay, I do think there's a shift. There could be a purge you're moving into. Be careful what you sow. If you know the feeling that's coming in, it's always important to communicate your feelings. And it's not that if you said this is a real shitty situation that it could break the donkey's back, but it's also how we go about articulating that. You can't not. So if something's irritating you, my advice wouldn't be keep the door closed, don't say anything, behave yourself. No, I'm not really feeling that. I don't think that's mature. I think it's about honouring it. I think it's about being realistic about what the context of the situation is, especially if this is a romantic situation, looking at it very honestly and practically, and also honouring the fact that you're quite welcome to be frustrated. Zoe was cute as heck. Kiwis, the 36 pregnant. Or yeah. My daughter has a beautiful photo of her when she was pregnant, and she had one with her partner, and she's got those memories to give to her kids, and it was them on the beach. Very beautiful photos. She said to me the other day, "Where's the photos of me?" I said, "I didn't feel I was that attractive when I was pregnant. I had very limited photos. And plus, I was working all the time." Okay. Last thing, we'll dig a bit deeper. I do think it's shifting, but I do think there's going to be another conversation between flame light potions. I get this feeling there's a renegotiation here. There's a frustration point coming up. Yeah, you like, look, enough excuses. You want to get to the bottom of it. I do think you're going to get to the bottom of this. I feel it's almost like you instinctually feel something isn't being transmuted to you correctly. Like there's white lie. There's something that the person's not sharing, and you just want to get to the root cause so you can understand it. It's a bit like you're being a psychologist to this situation. And again, I'd say be very careful about what you're planting. I do think you're going to get to the gist of what it is. It does feel on their side of the fence it is something family related, but I think you want to get to the bottom of it. You're also wondering when they're going to drop it. You know, when they're going to drop this circumstance as a burden, so they don't have to. And it doesn't feel like it's their responsibility for some reason. What that means, I don't know. This is your message, not mine. I won't question it. But that also can be your viewpoint. You're looking at it going, but it's not your responsibility, so why are you doing it? I do think you're going to get to the root cause. I just navigate through this, I'd say the next 3 weeks very cautiously. Don't not speak. That's silly. I'd never tell you that. Just be careful how you navigate it. Be aware of your feelings of how you navigate it, because you do have some testing situations coming up that you feel spiritually it's time to address. Let's see who we have next. Banner. There it is. I think it's Leo next. Last but not least, Leo next. I can't believe we got through that many. Don't even know how many it was, Lois. How many did we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ooh, Jupiter energy, spiritual energy. Pardon me. A lot of throat chakra with this Mercury shadow. I knew you'd be here. Okay, let's see. What was this all about? How much of the conversation did you get? So yours is in relationship to a phone call you received. You know the strange thing? I had a feeling. Okay. Are they here? Are they away? Weird feeling. I'd call back. I would call back. You don't trust them, though. You're like, okay, you're playing games with me. You have this trust issue with this circumstance. They did also want to talk to you about finances. This could have been an offer. It could have been an offer of money. Maybe money that is owed to you. Yeah, bad reception. Yeah, well, Yeah, I didn't feel they were at home when the phone call came through. I felt that they were away. It could be working somewhere. It could be visiting home. However, I just, yeah, further away. That's what I felt. I do get that this person does want to make right with the circumstance. It's funny because you do have the faith card in reverse. So it was a circumstance where you were feeling quite disillusioned. And pretty much spiritually, you had almost got ready to let go, and then you got a phone call. I feel as though this is, yeah, it's like you psychologically, you were like, it's just nothing's happening. I feel they picked up on this. I feel there is quite a psychic connection between the both of you. This might have given you a bit of hope. However, you don't know why. I'm not saying that you completely felt hopeful because of the text, because of the phone call, because of the way things went, but you were wondering, you know, why is this coming about? What you're wanting is the Star card. It's the dream. It's the hope after the darkness. It's the movement. That's really what you're wanting. There has been a lot of dramas over exes, conflict over the past. They're making reference to this. Yeah, look, like I said 100 times, a lot of times when we see, and this is more those of you that are in a twin flame path or a spiritual connection, all of it is energy. When we do entertain another path, the person in question of the past 9 times out of 10 does come through. There is a lot of conflict. Look, you might have even told this person about this individual. This person does feel your energy. There is jealousy. There is worry about you moving forward. They know there's been conflict. There's been arguments. This has added confusion to the situation. Whoa, yeah, confusion. Only one fell on the floor. We'll take that. I do think you're going to hear from them again. I also feel they could turn up. Ooh. Chivalry ain't dead. This person is going to get jealous. It's an energy, Leonix. It's a psychic energy. This person feels you pulling away. I also feel as though, how do I explain this? They're giving me so much information. It's taking a lot to get it together. I don't know if something is going to happen where they're going to bump into you, and it's almost like it could even be something you say, but for some reason some jealousy is coming up. So it is very spiritual, okay? So when the heart is breaking, when the energy of choice is coming about, when other energies are coming into our lives, we are all interconnected. So when you are thinking on somebody, you feel a sinking feeling something has shifted, and so they tend to contact you, or you tend to contact them, however it falls through, depending on the level of the psychic connection between the two individuals. This person is feeling as though somebody is in their chair. Okay. I do think they wanted to talk to you about your son, about money, about getting the money back up to date, about catching up with you. They were worried that an argument was going to start again, to do with the past, to do with the future, what's going to happen. They have been thinking a lot to do with the future. You also have felt that they had been flaky, okay? So you have chosen to move in a particular direction. The funny thing is, the only confused individual here now is you. A is because I feel this person is going to turn up. I feel this is your twin. They're going to turn up. But you are going to have a choice between two roads. You can rectify this, but I do think it's through communicating and just cutting to the chase, you know. Are we only going to talk about our son, or, you know, are we going to talk about a relationship? What are we looking at right here? Why are we communicating? Is the only reason you're communicating for this? Okay, fair enough. Now I know where I stand. But I do get this person coming in. I very strongly get this person coming in. But the person has actually kind of stood back because of conflict and an inability to communicate. The Star card is here. Both parties here do want this connection. But a lot of the past has actually caused issues. We have the jealousy card. We have the feeling almost protective of ourselves with the conflict. Almost feeling disillusioned by the way things were going. Okay, 3 cards, please. It's funny, but this location where they are, it's really strange. It feels strange. I feel they have some question they want to ask you. Feels quite important. I would hear them out. If they do call again, pick up, because I feel it's an offer. I feel it's a statement. Yeah, it doesn't feel negative. Yeah, it's going to be, you're going to have to make a decision, not them. It feels like there's an offer. But it does depend on how you proceed forward. You can contact them. I would check a text message and say you're free, and go from there. That's what I would do. But that's your life. You have to choose what's correct for you. But it does feel as though they do want to make contact to kind of mend the fence, move forward, and see how things go. It just depends on how you want to proceed with that. You do have the Star card. I would probably just reach out and just hear them out. Just have a chat and see what it means. Have a chat and see how your heart feels, and then go from there. I will love you and leave you all. I hope you guys enjoyed the super chats. If you do want to join our next super chats, we do have them through the members. All the dates are in the community tab. If you haven't watched the Moon in Capricorn update, do have a look at it, because it does cover the transits from here into August and what we can expect through this transition, even throughout the year. So go and take a look at the full Moon in Capricorn update for your zodiac sign. Otherwise, I'll see you soon.